And viewers, it is a crucial day for Bangladesh as after 3 days of chaos and unrest following former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's ouster, today our neighbouring country will be getting a new interim government. Muhammad Yunus, who is a Nobel laureate and enjoys the support of student leaders in the country, will be at the helm of affairs till elections take place in Bangladesh. The Nobel-winning microfinance pioneer has asked for calm in the country after weeks of violence in which at least 455 people were killed. Mr. Yunus is credited with lifting millions out of poverty in Bangladesh and will have the title of Chief Advisor. A Bangladesh court yesterday acquitted Mr. Yunus of a labour conviction on appeal. Mr. Yunus had travelled abroad earlier this year after he was sentenced to 6 months in jail for the labour charge, but was immediately bailed pending appeal. The case was criticised as politically motivated by rights watchdogs, including Amnesty International. Now, Mr. Yunus will head the interim government and take oath in the evening. But will peace, stability and democracy flourish in Bangladesh now? Or will the country witness more protest? To talk more about it, I am being joined by Reaz Ahmad, who is a journalist with the Dhaka Tribune. Thank you so much, Reaz, for joining us and speaking to us. Let's first talk about Mr. Yunus. He will be taking oath today as the chief advisor. Who all will be part of the interim government?
Thank you very much, Aditi, for having me this morning in your show. Yes, as you were right, just exactly said that Dr. Muhammad Yunus is all set to take over the charge of an interim government. He will be heading it. This far we know for sure. And he was traveling abroad, and by early afternoon today, he is expected to reach Dhaka. And for the new government to sworn in, the time has been fixed at 8 in the evening today. And most likely there will be a 15-member interim government, which will be tasked with the responsibility of bringing peace and order in the country after the resignation of the earlier Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And after that, everybody in this country will be expecting the new government to bring peace and creating an environment where an election, free and fair election, fresh election of the parliament can take place in shortest possible time.
Right. And Reaz, there is a demand from the BNP as well that polls should be held as soon as, within 3 months. But seeing Muhammad Yunus, the support that he enjoys of the masses, will he be part of the new government that will form after the elections take place? And has BNP managed to win the trust of people? As we see that many student leaders, and there was a big chorus for Muhammad Yunus.
Yeah. Actually, as you just said regarding the BNP's demand, I mean, there is two issues here. One is, nobody in this country wants an unelected government in whatever form it is formed to continue for too long. On the other hand, and want an election to be held and politicians, political parties take part freely, and whoever the people choose come and constitute an elected government. But on the other hand, there is a huge question of creating an environment, a level playing field for everyone to take part freely, fairly, and that to happen, any new government, this interim government also, whether a 3-month time frame is realistic or not, that has to be seen, because on the context of institution building, I have said it in several other media as well, emphasizing that in Bangladesh for many years, people have lost faith in the capacity of the election commission, the police administration, and other bodies, the state's apparatus, institutions, because they were too much politicized over the years. And somehow they lost the credibility to function in a proper way in a democratic environment. That's why for Professor Yunus and his team, it will be the challenging moment to rebuild these institutions before going for an election. That election that we are actually in Bangladesh, everybody wants that
Right.
we want to vote, exercise our voting rights free and fairly.
Certainly, and a
To
fair
that
demand
too,
after, witnessing 15-decade rule of Sheikh Hasina. And if we talk about Sheikh Hasina, Mr. Ahmad, what will happen to her? Her son has confirmed that she won't be returning to active politics. She is currently in India. What's next?
okay. You see that her son has been giving interviews to so many international media over the
Right.
last two days, and you and me definitely must have noticed that from his interviews, from the earliest one to the latest one, you'll see there is a gradual shift. As an initial reaction, he expressed utter disappointment, naturally so, about the prospect of his mother's return to politics, about his joining of politics, or his family's, Bangabandhu's family's playing any more role in the political landscape of Bangladesh. These were the initial reactions. But afterwards, if you get a chance to listen to his one of the last interviews he has
Right.
given, he showed a kind of a resilience. He said that it's not necessarily the end of Awami League, the party his mother has been spearheading
Right.
since 1981. So there is every likelihood that after coming over with the initial shocks, the
Right.
party's leadership, I mean, Sheikh Hasina is the supreme leader of the party, but not necessarily. It does. It must be having an array of other leadership. So they will try to reorganize and reassess the whole thing, how
Right.
it happened, why it happened. They will have a soul searching first, and then they will try to reorganize and
But certainly,
definitely.
certainly, Mr. Ahmad, also the major challenge that the interim government and the new government, if formed after the elections, will be to restore peace. Will the interim government
Exactly.
manage to restore it? Because we saw Muhammad Yunus also saying that there is a need to, make place calm, and even Khaleda Zia also appealed for the people to remain calm and composed and restore stability in the region. Do you think it is possible?
It is possible and it has to be. I mean, the peace has to be restored. This all happened, I think, in my assessment, there were over a month of, so many violent incidents involving the police force, excessive use of the force on the part of the state, and on the other hand, there were students groups, and when something happened in such a big magnitude, there are always opportunists, some vested quarter groups,
Right.
thugs, the dacoits, and who not take part in such vandalism and things like that. And particularly in between August 5 and this day, today, there has been no specific, the power was the best. The army chief definitely has said that we are taking the charge for the time being. Still, an interim government is formed. So
Certainly. That
in
remains
between
the
there
big
were,
challenge, Mr. Ahmad. Thank you so much for joining us and throwing light on what will
yeah.
happen, what's the future of Bangladesh. And tonight will be the oath ceremony where Mr. Muhammad Yunus will be taking oath. Meanwhile, my colleague Vishnu Shom also held a discussion over what is the situation like in Bangladesh and what it means for India. Take a look.
Syed Badrul Ehsan, is there a purge, to the best of your knowledge, taking place within the Bangladesh Army, the Bangladesh Police, and members of and within the Awami League?
those are the reports that we are getting, that there has been a purge. There is a purge going on.
No, so
in the-
what do we mean by a purge? Are we talking about people being detained? Are we talking about people losing their jobs, or are we talking about worse?
Well, not exactly. People are not being detained as such, but they are being transferred to different areas of the military. And we have a new IGP, Inspector General of Police, who's just taken over. He has met the president, and he just made a statement. So I wouldn't say that the word purge here signifies some large-scale changes or radical changes. It's just a change of people in different positions, people who may have been loyal to the government that is no more there. So I think they're trying to bring a new set of people in order to ensure that security and stability return to the country, which, as you pointed out, that situation is not very good at this point of time.
And what about supporters of Sheikh Hasina? I mean, are they being targeted? Members of the Awami League, are they being detained? Is there sort of people avenging themselves in a sense?
Yes, they are on the run. The Awami League, as a political party, is clearly in a shambles, and there have been reports that in the interior of the country. Now we basically have reports in the local media in Dhaka focusing on the urban areas, Dhaka and other cities. But the reports that we are getting from within the country is that Awami League supporters are being targeted. A good number of people have been loyalists, Awami League local leaders and political activists. They have been killed or wounded. Most of them are on the run. So the situation is not good. And in the last couple of days, which you might know, in fact, yesterday, two ministers of the former government who tried to leave the country, they were apprehended at Dhaka airport, and they were detained,
Sure.
taken into under arrest by the military.
Nadeem Qadir, what's happening in terms of attacks on minorities? We hear that temples have been attacked, the homes of Hindus in Bangladesh have been attacked. Are these sporadic incidents, or is there something larger?
Thank you so much. Well, I must say that today the situation is much better as far as attacks on temples, but there were reports of attacks on churches. So it indicates it's a very planned kind of attacks going on, and but thank God that it was very bad yesterday and day before, but today things are calmer in all the sectors. So it did happen, but now I can say quite proudly about the students that they have spread around the country, and the local people, including the imams of the mosques, they are protecting the temples and churches.